giver. Today is the day we find out which two teams will be battling for the 2022 North Star Shield. It's leg 2 of the CPL semifinals, and first up in our doubleheader is Atletico Ottawa hosting Pacific FC. Can Ottawa continue their fairy tale season, or will Pacific do the unthinkable and overturn the loss they suffered in leg 1 in order to defend their title? Let's find out, shall we, as we welcome you to Matchday Live and welcome inside our One Soccer studio, Andy Petrillo alongside Jordan Wilson, Gareth Wheeler. Yes, well, can we call it decision day? I mean, it's decision day. We're going to find out who's going to move on to compete for the North Star Shield. And here's a little reminder of how things went in leg 1. So, yes, Atletico Ottawa right now with the upper hand. They defeated Pacific 2-0. That was at Pacific, the first time they were ever hosting a playoff game. And then later on, it's going to be Forge and Cavalry. Cavalry hosted leg 1. They scored first. Forge tied it up 1-1, which means they're even, Steven. Oh, it's the rivalry that keeps on giving. We love it. But here's the thing. For the first time since 2019, Ottawa is hosting a professional playoff match. They've opened up another section. It's going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. This is what the players want. This is what we want. But let's find out which fan base should be feeling what. So how about I start with you, Jordan? I want to give you Pacific. You're going to talk Ottawa, Garrett. So if you're Pacific, how are you feeling right now if you're their fans?
So I have a quick story to share with you, Wheels and Andy. When I was 8.
Oh, here we go.
Should we get the popcorn out? What's happening?
It'll be quick. When I was 8, I was playing for North Mississauga. It was the semifinals. We were down 1-0. My dad was the coach. He yelled from the sideline, "Jordan, it's now or never."
Stop it.
Promise you. True story. I got the ball. Skip past one guy, skip past another, slap one top cheese, 1-1. My boy, 2 minutes later, 2-1. I'll never forget that. That was the first time in my life where I felt a sense of urgency. This is what Pacific fans want from their team today. It's do or die, it's now or never. They gotta bring it. How do you feel?
How do I feel about Pacific? They don't have Jordan Wilson in their midfield. They're keeping their fingers crossed, their toes crossed, and they're hoping that they catch Ottawa on an off day. Which spins us to the Ottawa side of the equation. I think their fans are excited. They're feeling comfortable. They're already making plans for next Sunday to host a Canadian Premier League final. That's what they're thinking. In terms of their home form on the season, Ottawa, it's a very difficult team to score against, except for 2 bad days against the office. At the office. One was their second home game of the season, a 6-1 loss to Valor, and then really laying an egg against Forge in a 4-0 loss. Other than that, they've been able to keep it tight. They defend so well, better organized than any other team in the league. So I don't think it's enough for Pacific to just come out, perform a la Jordan Wilson under 8 football. It's about catching Ottawa on a bad day. They need to feel that maybe all the attention, maybe the players are a little bit too hyped, and maybe something crazy can happen.
Maybe it's because I'm watching that new Lord of the Rings show, but I felt like your dad was Gandalf in that moment. It's now or never, and it will get you going. But it's the same for Forge and Cavalry. You shall not pass. Let's go back to you, Wheels, and just if you're a Cavalry fan and how you're feeling.
I'm a little nervous today because it's a little bit of a case of deja vu. You're at the dance, but inevitably, you're not finding the right partner and you're not coming away with the right result. They're finding different ways to not advance, to not win. Today, it doesn't matter how. We've heard this from Tommy Wilden Jr. all season long. Don't speak to me about, the style of play, what we've done or what we're not doing. It's just about getting the result. So I'm looking for a little bit of a scrap today. It's gonna be physical. It's gonna be emotional. Can't wait for this one.
All right, what about Forge?
I think they feel confident going into today. They've been here before. They're playing at home, which is a huge bonus. And it's a team that has never gotten the best of them in Calgary. So they know how to win. They have the pedigree and they have the team to show for it. And they don't have anyone injured at the moment. Like, they have a team where you can come and really attacking side that hasn't been doing the best as of late, but you can flip and flop and mix and match and maybe come up with some product today.
With the exception of Daniel Crutzen.
Sorry.
We're not sure, and he's such an important player for this team. And I still don't know if Bobby Smirniotis even knows what his best attack looks like.
For
and
sure.
if they need to go out and score a goal here, Jordan, I think there's some questions that need to be asked.
Well, speaking of injuries, as we take a look at Atletico Ottawa starting 11, Kevin Aleman got injured in leg 1. He was questionable, so he's not in. So they've been dealing with a little bit of knocks here and there. We'll keep our eye on Drew Becky. He didn't start leg 1, did come on afterwards, but in some interviews this week, he alluded to working hard to play at 100%. So it kind of makes you wonder if he is dealing with a little something. But Jordan, he does get the start here today.
It's beautiful for him. For me, he's a player that is the minister of the defense. He's so vocal. He gets things going for his club. And for me, I think he's been in the game for so long. He knows that he can smell the finals. He knows what it takes. 90 minutes of him just being disciplined and having other people around him. When you're an older veteran player, I would say like myself, when the knees start cracking, you want the players next to you to basically do your dirty work. He wants Sissoko to clean up in front of him, and he keep his 2 center backs tight to him and make sure that the game's in front of him. If he can do that, I feel like they'll be celebrating next week in the finals.
I was a little bit surprised that Drew Becky didn't start last game, because that experience this time of year is worth its weight in gold. And he's a leader, well respected in this team, and there will be difficult moments that they're going to need to fight through, and having someone like Becky to lean on is huge. I also look at the player that's playing immediately to his right, in Miguel Acosta. For me, because he's a fullback or plays on the right side of center back, he didn't warrant, I guess, consideration being the top defender in the Canadian Premier League, but I think you can make the case that he might be the most important defender for Atletico Ottawa. Not only the way that he defends, he led the Canadian Premier League over the regular season in tackles, but the way that he gets forward to attack as well and links up the attacking play. It's very much if you watch CF Montreal, like what a Kamal Miller does or what a Joel Waterman does, stepping up, making those critical passes and making those critical runs, adding something to an attack which is sometimes rather limited just in terms of getting numbers forward. He's so important on both sides of the ball, and he's going to be huge today dealing with Josh Hurd coming down that left-hand side.
Little more cushy for Ottawa. I only say that because Pacific is a very strong team. They know they have to go for goal. They need at least a 2-goal differential here to force penalties, because remember, Atletico Ottawa won 2-0. If Ottawa does get a goal, then yes, they're going to have to score 3 goals. And you can see throughout the season how many times they've scored 2 goals in a game, 6 times. How many times they've scored 3 goals in a game, 4 times. So it is a pretty large mountain that Pacific have to climb, but they're ready to start climbing. Joining us now, Pacific head coach James Merriman. And James, you dominated leg 1 as far as possession goes, but of course, Atletico walked away with a 2-0 victory. So what is it going to take to break them down today and get that all-important first goal?
Yeah, we want to open the game. We need to play a little bit quicker in the transition moments. When we won the ball, I thought we were a little bit slow to attack in the first game, and we looked at that as a team. And then being more creative and more clinical in the final third. Those are the 2 areas that we think we can do better today.
They've opened up another section there in Ottawa. How do you manage the crowd that's going to be pro-Ottawa here? How do you manage them and make sure you don't get swept away with it either?
I think we have enough experience and enough character and personality in our team to embrace it and enjoy that and enjoy the moment here. And this is what they want as well as players. They want to play in front of a packed house, in front of a lot of fans, and we can use the energy for us as well.
What's your message to people who are already planning the final in Ottawa?
Yeah, we spoke about that a lot this week. We accepted the challenge the first day of training that we have, and we see it and we can hear it, and if anything, it just motivates us, fuels us more. And we have a big energy in our locker room right now, and it's about what we're going to do on the field. But the mentality this week has been excellent, and I expect a big performance, and we want to quiet this place.
Looking forward to it, James. Really appreciate you taking the time. And in the meantime, can someone please check to see if James has a pulse? I will say this. In high-stress situations, when you don't want to panic, he's the guy I want next to me in the foxhole. He just keeps it nice and cool. So he's getting his team ready for this as we take a look at his starting 11. They need goals. That is what they need, Jordan.
goals, goals, goals. Who I'm looking forward to today to watching is Bustos. If he can start this game how he ended the last, it's looking optimistic. But my challenge, if you could hear me, it would be product over possession. Bustos wants to get it and combine, and this means nothing today. If you're getting the ball from 40 yards out and trying to pass and you beat Atletico Ottawa in possession, that's nothing. Get the ball in the box, get shots on target. Anything could happen if the ball maybe falls in the box. It could be a handball, you can get a penalty. We need more from you, Marco. We need it. Your team needs it. So come out today and get some quality.
It's what we saw from him in the second half last week. He was outstanding. He was the best player on the field, and that's what he can be. I agree with you. They just need to find a way today. And a player that has found a way in previous meetings this season against Atletico Ottawa is Josh Hurd. You know, he provides a counterbalance to Bustos down the right. He's playing down the left-hand side with Habibullah leading the line. You know, no pronounced experienced number 9 in this team. It's about those wing players to get the job done. Josh Hurd did score the game winner at TD Place Stadium in Ottawa earlier this season. Scored twice against them. He needs to be more effective. He had a very quiet game last week, and for this team to be successful, there needs to be a counterbalance. It cannot just be about Bustos.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're looking forward to what Pacific can do here. And we want to make sure you have every angle covered in this game. That is right. Dive into our immersive multi-camera personalized fan experience of the Canadian Premier League. Choose up to 8 different camera angles across multiple devices from the comfort of your home or if you're on the go. Experience this throughout today's doubleheader. Coverage is available via the TELUS Sports app, so be sure to download that. Well, it was a thrilling victory for Ottawa last week on the road. Balu Tabla, Zach Verhoeven getting the goals for Ottawa, which has created quite the task ahead for Pacific. But can Pacific get the job done? We'll find out how with Oliver Platt and Jordan Wilson at the big board.
Who's this game for? For those just making their start? Or those with a whole city on their back? For those who are always game? Or those who are pioneers? For those who are chasing glory? Or is it for all of us?
Volkswagen.
We created Carlsberg 0-0 because even the best things can be better with alcohol-free beer. Clean one-handed backhand is better. Balancing stuff is better. Whatever this is better. We created Carlsberg. Skipping your own ad is better. Parking in space, better. So, can the best alcohol-free beer make good things better? Probably.
There is something quite magical about heading into a new destination. A journey into the unknown. Not alone, but together, as a country, as a sport, ready to soar. We are Canada, and this is our sport. This is our time.
A new era for Canadian soccer begins today. Experience the emotion of every match. Watch all the highlights, the breaking news, the best debates, and analysis. And all the information about the Canadian stars playing abroad. Get access to the best of Canadian soccer from any device. Join the new dawn of an unstoppable game. See the rise on onesoccer.ca.
Earlier this month, Atletico Ottawa completed its worst-to-first run, winning the CPL's regular season and earning home field advantage throughout the CPL playoffs. Receiving high praise for their defensive work ethic, Ottawa finished the regular season with just 5 losses and 11 clean sheets through 28 games. And head coach Carlos Gonzalez is nominated for Canadian Premier League Coach of the Year in 2022. While making Ottawa favorites to win the North Star Shield. So what have the last 5 games at home looked like for Atletico Ottawa. Well, they haven't lost in their last 5. So a big draw against Forge, perennial contenders. And in that last game, well, that was a 2-2 draw against York United, despite having the 2-0 lead at that point. But Ottawa feeling pretty good playing at home. But how can Pacific break them down and do the unthinkable? Let's find out a little bit more as Jordan Wilson now joins Oliver Platt at the big board.
Welcome back to Tactics at the Big Board. It's a name that definitely needs a new segment, but we're going to give it another go with Jordan for company
Come
today.
on.
We're going to be looking, Jordan, at a couple of things. Firstly, how Atletico Ottawa got the better of Pacific, hurt Pacific last weekend in that semi-final first leg. And then you've got some thoughts as well on how Pacific might be able to get back into this tie based on your own experiences with York United. So we'll start with Ottawa's 2 goals last weekend. And look, I think when you roll this one through, you can see from the long ball here, there's errors you can point to, right? We'll pause it just to kind of illustrate the situation that Atletico Ottawa get into here. Look, you're going to see Thomas Mejiger jump out a little bit and be a little bit exposed by the run by Tabla behind. You're going to see Callum Irving come off his line. There's errors you can point to there, Jordan. But the big problem for me here is just how stretched out they are in the first place, and that, I think, maybe provokes those errors.
They're a team that was just attacking for 5 to 7 minutes, feeling like they're about to score. So I understand why they're stretched apart, but a team like Atletico Ottawa, that's what they want. Yeah. They're going to break down lines. You can't have a gap of 50, 60 yards between your squad, because they're going to have players that are going to be running forward and ready to create.
Here's the second goal here, and that, I think, is an interesting point, is that when you look back and watch this game back, there's a few minutes before these goals and before the first goal in particular where Pacific having their best spell of the game. They're on top, they're feeling dominant, and they may be getting a little bit too carried away, feeling like they have Pacific where they want them, and then they get punished at the other end.
It's almost like a counter punch. I feel like they're throwing little haymakers, they're feeling confident, and then all of a sudden Atletico Ottawa have that DNA and that feeling within their squad that they're going to go and punish, and they're going to go and not only get a chance, but they're going to score a goal on the counter.
Yeah, they've done it all season long, but the tables did turn a little bit. Last weekend of the season, you guys are 2-0 down to Atletico Ottawa, York United, obviously. You only have 45 minutes, unlike Pacific, who have 90 today, to get back into that game, and you did it. Take us through it, how you think that you were able to get back into that game, how you created chances.
It's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible to score against this team, but I feel like what Pacific did last week, which is incorrect, is trying to play through the middle. Now here, we start in the middle, but we end up going wide, which is what we need to do. We have Noah, our central midfielder. You see all these players here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Atletico Ottawa players behind the ball and set. Well, we need to go wide and isolate and draw players. So for today, for Pacific to be successful, they have to have players to get wide and get crosses in. Beautiful ball by Chris Snow. What a big boy header by D-Row. But you see here that we're getting numbers in the box, getting quality crosses in. That's the only way to beat Atletico Ottawa, in my opinion. Here, another thing. If we could pause this. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Atletico Ottawa players in the box. But this is what York did well. We have 1 on top, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 York players ready and willing to battle for the ball. And that's where fortune comes from. If you have numbers in and around the area, you're ready to create something. Then what a finish by number 4.
Who is that?
Fox in the box.
To go with
Come
it as
on,
well.
baby. No, so that's, for me, that's the key today, is getting numbers in the box, getting across someone's chest, and then fortune could happen.
I guess the question would be, you've got Asazi Di Rosario up there, wins that header like a beast in the air that we know who he is. Do you think Pacific had the numbers, the size, when you look at someone like Cameron Habibullah playing the false 9 again today, is that potentially an issue?
Obviously, they don't have the same height advantage or the prowess, we would say, like in a D-Row or other bigger strikers that we have. But they have to find a way to get guys in and around the box, because something could fall to you. But having Bustos or Aparicio combining 30, 40 yards away is not going to win them this game. For them to come back from this tie, you got to get into the box. Crosses in, and just throw yourself about. It could be a penalty, it could be a handball, it could be a free kick outside, but they got to get numbers in the box.
If you're an Ottawa player and Pacific gets an early goal, how are you feeling in this one?
Nervous.
A little nervous, right?
If they get a goal in the first half, this is an interesting game. I'm going to sit here with you and I'm going to have some popcorn.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Jordan. Great stuff. Back to you, Andy.
Listen, we know it's going to be an interesting game. We also know the second of our double header will be just as interesting. 5 p.m. Eastern time at Forge will be hosting Cavalry. First leg that ended 1-1. Now, speaking of leg 1, let's take you back now and let's go behind the scenes with Pacific.
Last home game, guys. Yeah? Last time we play here in front of our fans. Huh? Big energy, big intensity right from the start. Set the tone, like Jay said. Set the tone early. Push the tempo. First attacking moment, first defensive moment, and set the tone. Our game today, guys. Big intensity, big energy from the start. Win the first half. We come back in here at halftime. Win the first half. Start on the front foot. Come on.
Volkswagen, the official automotive partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Who's this game for? For those just making their start? Or those with a whole city on their back? For those who are always game? Or those who are pioneers? For those who are chasing glory? Or is it for all of us?
Volkswagen.
That voice in our heads that urges you forward.
Bueno, dale, vamos.
Fuel it.
A new era for Canadian soccer begins today. Experience the emotion of every match. Watch all the highlights, the breaking news, the best debates, and analysis. And all the information about the Canadian stars playing abroad. Get access to the best of Canadian soccer from any device. Join the new dawn of an unstoppable game. See the rise on onesoccer.ca.
Gonna make it.
We timed this out, remember?
Passports.
Is that money? Dad! Have you forgotten how to pack for a vacation?
We're gonna miss our flight to Cancun.
Cancun? I'll make sure you make your flight.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Whole crew, rollin' with me. 1, 2, 1, 2.
WestJet is a proud sponsor of the Canadian Premier League.
Well, the fans are ready for this one. First time since 2019, Ottawa hosting a playoff match. It's going to be one of the biggest crowds that they've had all season long. They've had to open up another section because the demand was there. But Pacific fans making the journey as well. Yes, it will most likely be pro-Ottawa, but Canadian Premier League fans, they like to travel to support their side. Everyone getting ready. The day looks absolutely beautiful. Let's crown a winner here who will move on to compete for the North Star Shield. As you continue to watch Matchday Live, we're getting you set for this one. Andy, Jordan, Gareth. And Pacific, we've all been saying it, right? They have a big mountain to climb. 2-0. They lost leg 1 at home. They want to be able to go on to defend that title. They don't want this to be their last game, Gareth. And in particular, if you're looking for some motivation, just look to your captain in Jamar Dixon.
Yeah, the one notable change in their starting 11 is they bring in the player with the most experience in the team in Jamar Dixon. Not only what could be his final game after he announced he's going to be retiring at the end of this season, but a player that used to play for Ottawa Fury. He's played in this stadium. He knows what it's like. He was born in Ottawa. Like, there's a lot of roots here, and they need his leadership and that inspiration in order to dig deep and pull something out here. And he's the type of player, again, I was surprised that he didn't start last game, because you want those experienced players where the game matters a little bit more. And it was less than a year ago, he put in a massive shift in Hamilton and for Pacific to go on and win the North Star Shield. So it's going to be a big game for Dixon today. And I think that him in is going to be beneficial for everyone around him as well.
He's the player to galvanize the squad. You saw it last year in the finals. You see it throughout the season. Yeah, he had a little bit of niggling injuries and whatnot throughout the year, but he's the type of guy to push players on. And if the ship is going to go down today, you want to go down with your captain. I think they could win if they score a goal early, but he's a guy that has to play because he's the energy within the squad. Yeah.
Well, James Merriman looking a lot to CONCACAF League, right, where they were down, had to go on the road and equalize there in order to force penalties, which is what they did, ultimately losing in penalties. But he's been using the CONCACAF League experience for Pacific as, you know, motivation for this team to say, just because you feel like you're down and out, just because the score line says you're down and out heading into leg 2, doesn't actually mean that yet.
But who scored that big goal? Down in Costa Rica, it was DeSantos. Johnny DeSantos has been a peripheral figure for whatever reason. He's back on the bench at the very least today. Him and Daniels, 2 Dutch players, just don't seem to be in his plans. It'll be interesting to see if that desperation time comes, either one or both end up making their way on the field.
All right, putting you on the spot once again. You thought it was just last week in Leg 1, Jordan? This is what we do. And you know what, Gareth, he was right all the time. It was really annoying.
Don't do it, Andy. Don't say that.
Jordan?
Don't say all the time. Just say a lot of the time.
Well, last week he was right with both games, which was unfortunate. Jordan, let's begin with you, because we just don't hear the end of it when it comes to wheels. All right, who you got in this one?
You talked about a mountain to climb. It's just too big of a mountain for Pacific. I know that Atletico Ottawa is going to pull it off today, so I'm holding this up.
Yeah. Can I share it with you?
No, you can have that.
Because I honestly, I think that this game has the potential where it can get out of hand for Pacific. If they push too much, we've talked about what they need to do from an attacking perspective, and they concede 1, could be 2, could be 3. Ottawa's going to be up for this today, playing in front of a big home crowd. This is a model that we should be pursuing in the Canadian Premier League. This mesh between a historic club like Atletico Madrid coming to Ottawa, a distinct twist on what that means within their own community, a real nice Ottawa feel as well. It's come together. This is an intriguing model for the league, and thus far the biggest success story in the Canadian Premier League. I think they could win 2 or 3-0 today.
All the talk of Pacific is still in it. They got it, and you're both going Ottawa, eh? Listen, it's true. They are so strong defensively. We know this, and they look to counter, because if you're Pacific, that's where you do have to be careful. You want to push. You want to get that first goal. It can completely change the complexion, but you also leave yourself exposed against a team like Ottawa, who is relishing the chance for you to push.
That's how they want to play.
But maybe you have a guy like Dixon in there to stop that counter. You know, you can see with James Merriman's lineup is like, yeah, we're going to go for it, but we also have a contingency plan. So we hope there could be no errors for them today, for Pacific. They got to go for it, but they can't concede.
You want to know why? Because it's now or never.
Shout out to you, Pops. Love you, buddy.
Basically Gandalf.
That is what it is. Let's get ready. Let's find out who's moving on to compete for the North Star Shield. Kickoff is just around the corner here. Even the babies are getting ready for this one. Let's go. It's Atletico Ottawa hosting Pacific FC in Ottawa, and it's right here on One Soccer.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
Wonderful save from Soa. Lacrosse, hit it on, good save. Margot stopped by Pauli, rebound, stopped again.
It is championship season in CONCACAF League play, and the finals are set. The finals for the Scotiabank CONCACAF League begin this fall. Olympia versus Alajuelense. One Soccer.
We're used to labels. Apologetic. Sweet. Pushovers.
1, 2, 3, bang!
But screw labels. No more being polite. No more sugarcoating. Because we're labelless and limitless. Oat Canada, the official plant protein partner of Canada Soccer.
Come on! Come on! Come on!
Come on!
Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on!
Come on.
Come on! Come on! Play casino online at comeon.net.
Volkswagen, the official automotive partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Place Stadium in our nation's capital. Among the spectacular autumn foliage is the setting for the second leg of the CPL playoff semifinal between Atletico Ottawa and the reigning CPL champions, Pacific FC. And here's a look at some of the Atletico Ottawa fans on their march to the match to TD Place Stadium. Good Sunday afternoon, everyone. I'm Alf DeBlasis. Thank you very much for joining us as we continue to bring you exclusive live coverage of the 2022 Canadian Premier League playoffs here on One Soccer. Atletico come home with the aggregate goals advantage after earning a 2-0 victory on Vancouver Island when these two teams met in the first leg last weekend. It marked their first ever win in British Columbia franchise history. Balou Tabla put Ottawa ahead in the 79th minute. Zach Verhoeven sealed the result with a second goal in stoppage time. If they can maintain that advantage, Atleti can set a path to hosting the CPL final next weekend right here at TD Place. That would be quite an achievement for an Ottawa side that finished dead last in the CPL just a year ago, only to be crowned regular season champions this season. An impressive worst to first turnaround in the space of less than 12 months. But Pacific will be determined to overcome that deficit, fight their way back to a second consecutive CPL title match. The teams have made their way to the center of the pitch. We'll pause now for the national anthem. Afterwards, we'll set the scene with the starting lineups.
If you are able, and remove your hats and join Anya Haynar as she sings the Canadian national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, qu'embrasse et porter les pays, il sait porter la croix, ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
Well, it's a festive atmosphere in Ottawa this afternoon as we take a look at our match officials for today. The referee is Pierre-Luc Lausière. He is 37 years of age from Drummondville, Quebec. His assistants today are Gabriel Lemieux and Peter Pendley. The fourth official is David Barry. Respective captains Drew Becky and Jamar Dixon presiding over the coin toss, and